must watch this lesson. You just have to watch this lesson. It's really important because it'll help you. And it's confusing in English. Actually, you don't have to watch this lesson if you don't want to. It's your choice. But you've already clicked on it. So let's continue. I'm going to explain to you 2 modal verbs that are really confusing in English because the positive and the negative have different meanings. Let's start with the first one and the easiest one. You guys have learned this, I'm sure, before if you studied grammar, or if you haven't studied grammar, you guys maybe have even heard about this. It's confusing. So what I'm going to teach you today is the difference between the modals must and have to. In the positive, must and have to have the exact same meaning or the exact same function. When we use this grammar, it's grammar. When we use this grammar, must, you can think about it like a law or a rule, okay? Something that is very, very, very important. Basically, if you don't do it, there will be bad things that will happen. So, must and have to, we both use for very strong rules or laws. So, I want you to think about in your daily life, or I'll give you an example of traveling. So, you're going to get on an airplane. So you go to the airport. What are some things you must have to get on the airplane? 1, you must have, or you have to have, an airplane ticket. If you don't have an airplane ticket, you're not going to get on that airplane. So you buy one. The second thing that you must have, or you have to have, is a passport or some kind of legal ID. Depending on where you are traveling to, if you're flying internationally to a different country, you definitely have to have or must have a passport. It's important to have money. You must have some money, or you have to have some money. How are you going to live? How are you got money. Okay. So, must and have to in the positive form are exactly the same. I don't care what anyone else has told you before. I don't care what your grammar books tell you. I don't care what your mom told you. Must and have to in the positive are completely equal. We don't make a difference. You have to do this or you must do this. The ending is the same. It's a rule or a law. If you don't do it, there's going to be some problems or you just won't be accepted. Can you think of an example in your life that you have a rule or a law that you must or have to do? Good. Okay. Let's look at also the grammar of have to. So, must is very easy. It's going to be subject plus must plus your base verb. This is called a modal verb, which is must. So, for example, subject plus must plus your base verb. I must have a ticket to get on that airplane. If I don't have a ticket, I can't get on the airplane. But when we use have to, we have to be very, very careful, or we must be careful, with our subject and our verb agreement. So, if you have he, she, or it, we have to say has to. But if you use I, we, they, or you, we have to say, we must say have to. So, it has to be great. We have to go now. It's very important. So be careful with our grammar. The must one's easier. So if you're deciding on which one you like better, choose must, because you don't have to worry about the subject and the verb agreement. But again, they are not different. Must and have to are exactly the same. The structure is different, but the function or the way we use it is exactly the same. You choose which one you like the most. The negative of must not is basically telling us a rule in the negative. For example, you can say, hey, 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 on the airplane, you must not smoke. This is a very, very strict law or rule on any airplane in any country of the world that smoking is prohibited. You can't do it. If you do it, you will get arrested, which means you'll go to jail. I don't know if you go to jail, but definitely the police will come and you have to pay a lot of money. So don't do it. Must not, we can shorten to mustn't. You mustn't cough during recording because it makes a loud noise. But when we say this, the T is silent. We do not say mustn't. You mustn't pronounce the T. When we do this, the T is actually silent. We say mustn't. So I can say, you mustn't smoke on an airplane. Or you must not smoke on the airplane. Again, they're the same. Mustn't faster and sounds more natural. But if you want to say must not, it sounds even stronger. So if you really want to enforce something or tell someone strongly, or you must not do that. That's bad. Bad kitten. Is there a kitten? Where's the kitten? So, must not has the same function as must. You're talking about a very strong rule or a very strong law. Now, this is where we get really confused because the negative of have to, if you guys look at this, is doesn't have to with he, she, it, and don't have to with I, you, we, and they. So, rule number 1. When you have to, you have to be careful, or you must be careful of the function and of the structure, because the structure is crazy. If you use negative, we do not change the verb here. We use the auxiliary verb doesn't and don't, but you keep the verb. You cannot say, you must not say, because it's a rule, she, he, it, doesn't, has. Doesn't, has is wrong. You have to use doesn't have to. Okay? So be very careful with these ones. Doesn't and don't are the verbs that are going to change in this grammar. So confusing. Just use this one. But again, as I told you, the function is different. Okay? Also, remember, every time you learn new grammar or you learn a new thing in English, please try and think about, what's the function? Why do I have to learn this stupid grammar point? How can I use this in real life? That's what you should always be asking yourself in your classroom. If you're studying by yourself, if you're speaking, go, oh, why? Why don't I say, she doesn't have to smoke on the airplane? Why can't I say that? So the difference is, this kind of grammar, it's very different from a rule or a law. This kind of drama, this kind of grammar, it's basically, and this is fun, it's your choice. Oh, it's your option. If you want to, you can. But you don't have to. So you have the option to do something. Another thing that you will understand from this is that people will give you their opinion or their advice. And when we give someone's opinion or advice, they're also going to use this structure. So, this one is a very strong rule or law. This one is not a strong rule or law. This is your choice or your option, or usually someone's opinion or advice. So, let's say that you're getting ready to travel and your mom says, hey, you don't have to call me every day, but you should. Or your friend says, you know what, it's okay. You don't have to buy me a souvenir or a gift when you go to this new country, but I'd like it a lot. This is someone's opinion. You don't have to do it. Nobody's holding a gun to your head saying, buy your friend a gift in this overpriced souvenir store. And your mother, Mom, thanks for all the advice. Advice is something that, again, is someone's opinion. It's never a law, unless it's from your mom. I'm joking. Advice and opinion are the same. So it's what people recommend. But you have to understand that if you don't want to, you don't have to. When you get on that airplane, there are some rules that you must follow. You must do up your seatbelt. Okay? This is a rule and a law. You must turn off your cell phone. But when the food comes down the aisle and you, well, that smells great. Guess what? You do not have to eat that terrible airplane food. It's your choice. If you want to, you can eat that chicken or beef, but she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to eat it if she doesn't want to. It's her choice. When you go to the airport and you're shopping, hey, guess what? You don't have to buy that bag. It's not important, but you want to, so that's your choice. Oh, I want to buy the bag. But you don't have to. It's not a rule. If you come to Canada, you don't have to drink maple syrup. Well, we don't drink it. You don't have to try maple syrup. Hey, if you don't want to try maple syrup, that's your choice. You don't have to do it. But you should. It's fun. I want you to think about things that you have encountered. Maybe at your work, or maybe when you're traveling, or any time in your life, maybe at your house. Things that you have made a choice to not do. Things that your mother tells you that you don't have to do, but you should. You don't have to donate money